In some neighborhoods of Detroit, it looks like a hurricane.
Average home price, less than $6,000.
Today, he's got a .357 Magnum strapped to his hip.
Hunting raccoons and selling the meat to survive.
Detroit is a city of death.
My name is Johnny Knoxville, and I am in Detroit, Michigan. Came here to see who's holding and who's got a sister. Come on, jokes. You see a lot of bad stuff in the press about Detroit. I can't believe there's nothing positive here. But we came to see what else is going on.
I don't think there has ever been a place where the possibilities of humanity were more actualized than they were in Michigan from 1945 to 72. It was beyond an American dream. It was an actuality. Everybody immigrated to America, got jobs. You were suddenly earning a middle-class wage. You'd buy a house in the suburbs. You could buy a second house up in the lake country and buy a boat, buy 2 cars, and die smiling.
Frequently called the most cosmopolitan city of the Midwest, Detroit today stands at the threshold of a bright new future.
Success, winning, conquering the world gave everybody in Detroit the one thing they wanted, which was the ability to leave Detroit. All the tax base left, the businesses left. There was a lot of class and race chaos. Everybody was caught in a swirl and nobody knew how to pull it together. It became an epic poem of failure.
You can go to any major city in the world and you can get homeless people, you can get crime, you can get a terrible picture of some guy lying in the street. But when it comes to Detroit, that's what they're going to show.
There's a lot of really great things going on here that people tend to gloss over and just focus on the ruin porn. It's like one more shot of the train station, like, you know, we get it, it's abandoned, it's huge.
These Dutch assholes come over here and all they want to do is take pictures of abandoned building, y'all. You know, that's all you want to do. You want to make this magazine and say, look at all this urban decay. This place is like, it's so unique. It's an anomaly. Yeah, but at the time, like when you're meeting these people, you're not meeting them in these abandoned buildings. You're meeting them at these hipster hangouts.
There's a story in the media about the old Castech, which has been abandoned. But if he just moved over, he would see that there's a brand new, beautiful Castech. It's one of the best schools in the city. It's pick and choose journalism.
You can fit Manhattan, Boston, San Francisco, all within the city limits of Detroit, and it's lost over 1 million people in the past 30, 40 years. So there's an emptiness, there's a physical emptiness. As a human being, you do have a sense of your own voice and your own physical presence and your own possibility. When you're riding down a big, wide city boulevard and you're the only thing on it, you feel a little like the Omega Man. You know, it's like, I am here, you know, this is my city.
It's a blank canvas. It's a blank canvas for developing business, for just about anything that you could really think of. Right now is a possibility to really change the city.
There's like opportunities to do stuff, or like whatever you want really, and like no one will really mess with you. People don't really see that, they just see it as like this burned out place where like you're surrounded by death and destruction and like everyone's out to rob you and get you, but it's not really like that.
I think that entrepreneurial spirit can be very powerful, can be a much needed antidote to the city that's had its heart ripped out.
So we're going to meet Phil Cooley. He buys abandoned buildings and turns them into restaurants and stores. And I think he's doing a skate park. He's also a young dude, so I don't know, let's go meet him.
Yo, what's up, Johnny? How you doing?
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So welcome to Slow's Barbecue. This is our expansion. We opened up about 5 years ago over by the old Michigan Central Station. We can't keep up with the need at our restaurant. And so now this is basically our carry-out and catering facility. It's just a massive kitchen.
Why did you come back to Detroit?
If I move to New York, I have no say in what happens in that city. And that's a ship you can't steer. If I'm here and I give a damn and I actually go out and I'm part of the community, I can actually do something and make a difference in Detroit. You don't really have a lot of chains, you know, choking out smaller stores. So in this city, people work together. We're so underserved commercially that small mom and pops like make a lot of sense.
I've been a businessman in Detroit for probably about 35 years. But I'm more optimistic in the last maybe 3 to 4 years than I ever been. I was the first Mongo that ever sold liquor with a license, because we're always on the speakeasies back in the 20s. Right around 90, and believe it or not, it was at least 4 people murdered on this street. So I said, let's mothball it until things change. See, when I first left, I always tell people, the pigeons had left. I mean, there was no homeless, there was nothing. About 5 years ago, I saw white girls running down the street. Now, in the past, everybody would call 911, like who's chasing them? So I realized that they were jogging. And I said, am I in this Detroit? And these kids who live down here, oh, they kept aggravating me, knocking on the window. Sir, please open, please open. I said, okay, I'll open, give me a date. She said June 24th. So I'm sitting in here with a few of my buddies. I looked out the window, I said, excuse my language, I said, what in the hell is going on? It had to be 200 white kids out here on bicycles. And I'm like, what? So I asked the kids, I said, what do you want? Sir, is it true you opening in 2 days? I said, who told you this? Oh, it's all on the text and the internet. But make a long story short, that night was so successful. Well, I see you every day. A lot of my buddies, they started saying, oh man, these little white kids taking over the city. So I say, no, they fill in the gaps. They left first, we filled in gaps. We left for the suburbs, they filling in gaps. If you could bring Cadillac, the early pioneers who founded this city, if you could bring them here right now with the kids that come in this club, and there's a lot of things y'all gonna have in common. I wanna give this a start. It's not much here, I wanna make something happen. So the same people.
I think the younger generation is able to look at a lot of things that might not be aesthetically pleasing or might seem a little bit too rough on the surface and see potential and how to transform them into something very usable.
Hi, Chip.
You know everyone in Detroit.
Yeah, everybody knows everyone in Detroit. There's only 8 of us left. So the pedestrian bridge here is a really cool project.
Does it go over the freeway?
Yeah, over the freeway. So, I mean, that's the main thing is, like, the freeway's kind of divided up our city and went through a lot of our really strong, especially black neighborhoods. What ends up happening is, you know, you have all these segregated communities.
So you're rejoining your communities?
Yeah, exactly, precisely. Hang on right here. We have a terrific architectural history in the city of Detroit, and a building such as Michigan Central, which is, you know, the same architect as Grand Central Station in New York City, it's one of our assets that people continually come in and photograph and visit, and it needs to be preserved. You can swing by into the old Michigan Central Station, see some of the crew. They're out there with my mom today, pulling weeds, just helping beautify the park. So we want to create like more of a plaza atmosphere. So we took the geometries and transferred them down to the ground plane, so it's like a shadow of the train station, so it'd act as like a memorial if anything ever did happen to it. We're gonna cut the roads that dissect it, put an amphitheater out there. We're also gonna do a skate park under these trees here. I'm hoping to just open the doors, really, you know, and just let it be a performance space. That all of our efforts in the park are just to encourage something to happen here. Potentially, it could be rehab. That would be terrific. At the same time, it's beautiful now, and it's so unique. You'd never see a building like this in any other city because no one has let a building like this fall to such disrepair.
We don't care what they say about Detroit. We just want to come down here because there is something amazing brewing.
So this is Zach and Co from the band The Dirt Bombs, and we are on our way to where?
We're going to the East Town Theater. It was like an old movie theater that became like a rock venue in the late 60s, early 70s.
Who played there?
Like MC5, The Stooges, Grand Funk Railroad, Alice Cooper, Elton John, Amboy Dukes, which was Ted Nugent's first band.
Elton John's from Detroit?
Elton John is not from Detroit, but he played there.
Man, this is a big-ass, wide-open street. Is this some type of, like, highway?
This is fucking Detroit, man. This is how we do it. We go 3-4 deep in the city, man. That's how we do it.
I mean, it's a car town. It's built for cars, built by cars.
We built the city on rock and roll.
Kick off your tail!
The spirit of what young people were doing in Detroit was undeniable. We had our art and our music and our culture that created an identity and a sense of community.
Let me kick out the tail! Yeah, kick out the tail! Gotta kick 'em out!
And we had the Grandy Ballroom and the Vanity Ballroom, and we had dozens and dozens of clubs that bands could play in, and it was consuming, and it was powerful.
Where we
stop
in?
Whoa.
We're going into the theater part?
Whoa.
So this is the stage right here.
Wow.
Wow.
Be careful, Cole, because it looks like you could go through on any of that.
Yeah.
This one's going on the mantle.
I want to get up in the balcony.
That's probably a worse idea than standing on the stage.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could have seen some of the shit that was here.
Yeah, dude.
Kick out the jams, mother effers.
Look at that ceiling work. It's so beautiful. It's still there.
Yeah, this was
Like
a
some of these
beautiful place
curtains.
at one time. You know when it was built about?
1930, it was a movie theater. It shut down in '66 and then opened back up 2 years later as a rock venue.
So 68 to 73 was its heyday?
Yeah, definitely. Alice Cooper, you know how he always wears the little top hat?
Yeah.
He premiered it here at this venue. He found the top hat in the dumpster outside and then he started using it here.
Look down there. Whoa!
God damn it. I get enough adventure on my day job. Now I gotta go down here. This looks like something from the fucking Blair Witch Project.
You're supposed to be the adventurer in the pack here.
This place is gorgeous. You could see I mean, you can still see how beautiful it is even now. What the f is this?
Ooh, stuff.
Yeah, it's old files. Detroit Center for the Performing Arts.
Oh, look at these headshots.
It's crazy, man. It's like a bomb hit this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's this guy's name? Dennis Cockrum?
Oh,
He's been in a bunch of movies.
Let's see.
Wait, maybe not.
He's been in a bunch of movies.
Napoleon blown apart. Eat Me in St. Louis. Mr. Holland's anus. Phil Bill. Wow, he has quite a resume.
It's been a rough couple of years.
Phil Bill.
This is a pretty amazing building. Just sad that it's gone.
It's sad that it's like this, but for me, Detroit rock and roll music is always about hope. So you can come in here and you can be like, wow, this is a mess, but you don't feel sad.
You know the Stooges just killed here.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure the Five killed here, too. Those bands were like what created punk. You know, like, it's amazing that I can just walk in here and feel it. I get goosebumps when I'm in here.
We probably got a lot more than that. Tuberculosis, staph.
Detroit has always been a cultural mecca and a melting pot for all these diverse types of music, diverse people. But what originally put Detroit on the map was Motown.
I mean, the boom was just incredible during the time of Motown.
Everybody worked in the auto industry, and I think that music was an outlet for them. You know, the line just keeps going, and you're just drilling things in and screwing things in, but the whole time there was always a radio on the line.
We would have days when it would be too hot, we put our record players on the front porch and we'd all come in the street and we'd party. Like the Supremes, or the Temptations, or the Four Tops, or or Stevie Wonder, or Barry Wells. Berry Gordy churned out hit after hit.
So I'm standing outside Berry Gordy's mansion. We're going to meet up with the rapper Black Milk, and we are going to go in Berry Gordy's house. Black Milk, Knoxville, man. Nice to meet you, buddy.
Truth be told, this is who you call the truest out the newest fold. To people watching our every move like it's the Truman Show.
Knock, knock. Hello? Is it occupied? Wow.
Knock, knock. Berry Gordy house.
Yeah. Were you a big Motown fan?
Of course. I mean, how can you be a musician from Detroit and not be, you know? This is amazing.
Everybody knows, you know, about the Detroit hip-hop scene, and definitely everybody knows about the Motown era, so the vibe and the history here with music is just rich.
This is amazing to, you know, just see, like I say, Motown, the whole era was a big part of what I'm doing right now, and just to see, you know, be a part of something from the guy that made it happen, made it all happen. Like, this is kind of crazy. Yeah, this is nice. This is, wow. It's crazy. Smokey, and I wonder if Stevie touched this piano too. So, yes, and now Black Milk touched the piano. So.
Yeah.
Being an artist and a musician, you know, I wouldn't want to be from any other place.
Yeah, let's talk about who's the most underestimated plus underrated city in this hip-hop game.
It's a beautiful, ugly kind of city. That's what I kind of call it. Detroit people feel like we have to work harder towards whatever we're trying to do because we're kind of the underdog. The beauty of it is people having that tight community, you know what I'm saying? It builds a lot of character and it makes us, you know, stronger, you know what I'm saying? I love traveling all over the world, seeing and learning new things, but I don't plan on going nowhere else no time soon, you know what I'm saying?
And it seems like the population is really spread out in the city, too.
It's a sprawling city.
So what are they doing to combat that? Or are they doing anything? Is it the community that's doing it?
I think the community is. I think the community is building from within, and it's just becoming a more interesting place, and that the suburbs can't ignore it anymore. These younger people are like slowly like ignoring their parents that say, "Oh, I would never go down to that goddamn city," and they're starting to come down and explore it and say, "Holy shit, this is amazing," and they move, which is great. You hang out right here. You see a lot of urban farming in, like, you know, in these abandoned spots. This guy, he was a 7th grade school teacher, started farming in his backyard. Then he just started taking over properties. Instead of asking, you know, permission of the property owner who leave these properties unkept and unmanaged, he asked permission of his neighbors and say, "Do you guys mind if I farm here?" And the neighbors love it, you know? And so the community works together and helps, you know, build these hoop houses and everything. And now he's doing some larger scale farming, selling to restaurants and stuff like that.
What was this?
So this is Fisher Body. They built all the Cadillac bodies there. It closed in the 90s. Now it's been sitting there for 20 years. It's just a tremendous building with history. Should we take a look around the building, see what's going on? I always try to scout things out a little bit.
Before you go into an abandoned building?
Yeah, not because I'm worried about the like scary people inside, but I'm more worried about security, like this guy on our right.
That security guard's getting our license plate.
He got us. Busted.
Yeah, he's writing them down.
Yeah.
Do they know we're coming?
I don't believe they do.
Should we take a look? Holy sh**. What happened on this floor?
The floor collapsed.
So it's probably not a great floor to be on, huh?
These things are all built in sections, so you see these, these columns are the structural members, so we're fine where we're at. I'd have to like really inspect underneath it. So it's a little frustrating about the auto parts folks saying that this will take years to retool. When it was necessary, when we were desperate, they retooled in months. In World War II, all the tanks and everything were created in Detroit.
There's a big f***ing hole right there.
Yeah. We want to stay away from like the big openings, just because they could bust us for being in here. So let's stay kind of back this way. So like scrappers would come in here and then cut these big pieces out, and eventually this kind of stuff will happen.
There's little holes right there.
Yeah, and there's some stress cracks and things, yeah.
Yeah.
Time magazine, Dateline, this is all they'll show you. And they won't put it in context other than this is scary, this is bad, what the hell is wrong with Detroit? But Detroit obviously is so much more. The possibilities are unique, they're different. You've got artists coming from all over the world moving here and finding places like the Russell Industrial, which is essentially the same space that got converted.
The same size?
Yeah, there's still industrial uses there, but they couldn't fill it with industrial space, so they've actually started converting a big chunk of it into artist lofts.
That's pretty great.
This is one of the floors on the Russell.
Who all's in here?
It's all like Detroit artists hanging out, having space where no one can bother them. So it's kind of interesting.
This is great, man. All right. Where would you like to see Detroit at in 15 years?
I want to make sure it's like a slow growth so that the community's involved and they're happy with it. If we can just convince 100 like 20-year-olds a year to move here, I'd be fine with that.
What about 200 2-year-olds?
I like
You kind of have to do it yourself here. There aren't services that a lot of people are used to in other cities. If you want something done, it is kind of best to do it yourself. And there's a lot of people that are getting it done right and are doing it themselves. I'm part of a new collective in Detroit called Omnicorp Detroit. This is our new space. It's about an 8,000 square foot warehouse. Most of the members in Omnicorp Detroit are transplants from somewhere else, and they're choosing to stay here. It's a fantastic incubator for making stuff.
Creative possibilities are somewhat endless. You know, this is probably one of the last cities to where you can still, reinvent. Still like a certain sense of lawlessness, it's pretty wide open.
This is a very bizarrely creative place. I mean, not just from the music industry perspective, but the auto industry was it was a design center of the world. And you have the College of Creative Studies, and you have Cranbrook, and it's sort of a spring that people don't really recognize as there, and yet CCS is dumping all these creative kids into the streets of Detroit every night.
Hey, so this is North End Studios. I am the art director. I really wanted to do something that would highlight the area in a positive way so that people would see it and it would sort of take away from this blight that's going on. Once I realized that I had the space, it was so large, so I invited friends of mine from College for Creative Studies to come and work here. We created a place where people could come and just like listen to music, have fun, and also see artwork. So Jeff is our event coordinator.
So do you want to check out the basement first? Yeah, there's like a rave here in a couple days, or well, tomorrow. But because it's like an old insurance agency, there's all these crazy like old vault rooms and stuff. Yeah, I don't know, this basement's so terrifying. My generation seems to be like rediscovering like all the cool places like this, where you can just like do whatever you want. And at this point, no one wants anything to do with it, so you can. And you have the access to it. Like, you know, like I'm 24 and I have a 9-story building at my disposal.
So this is gonna be the Heidelberg Project, and Tyree Guyton was this artist who lived in this neighborhood in the 80s and 90s, and he decided that the best way to combat people selling crack out of houses is to bring attention to a neighborhood. And we'll see in a minute what he did to bring attention.
Wow, that's pretty
cool.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to hug this guy's mind. And people are respectful of it and leave it alone?
Yeah, totally, totally. I feel like when people in Detroit, when they know you're doing something for real and they know you're trying, they'll respect you.
Wow. This is great.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal.
This house right here.
Holy
It's amazing.
It's pretty great.
It's a total DIY city, you know? It's pretty inspiring.
Detroit doesn't need any saviors. People get the idea that you need a huge chain store or sports team or something to come in here and, you know, be the proverbial game changer. We don't need that here. We need entrepreneurs, artists, do-it-yourselfers, thinkers. Detroit's always been a culture of making. We want to keep that alive. It's just going to have to be made a little different way.
Like the whole city, it has to fend for itself.
Yes, there's less resources in a lot of areas, and when people are doing things out of need, I think has far more potential to change our city and kind of change our path.
If you build it, they will come. If you build something and you have a great store or a great idea and you do it well, people will come down here because people want to have a great city.
And remember, Rome was sacked how many times? Berlin was bombed. Cities have always went down. But for some reason, cities come back. And it's people who bring them back.
It's a perfect opportunity for the American dream to be realized, that something can come out of nothing. I mean, this is what artists have always done, is create something out of nothing.
You see the stuff they're talking about on the news, but that's not what I'm leaving with. I'm leaving with memories of a bunch of rad people all working together, all doing things for the community. Pretty great.
We'll turn to dust. I know because I'll be bricks and you hiding. Nearest narrow siding. I hear the sirens calling out to me. They are saying you will never be free. Long as you hear me.